In this video, we are going to talk about who is Vladimir Putin. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for future updates. During his tenure as president of Russia, Vladimir Putin governed from 2000 to 2008, and he was re-elected to the position in 2012. He formerly held the position of Prime Minister of Russia. Who is Vladimir Putin? In 1999, Russian President Boris Yeltsin fired his prime minister and replaced him with former KGB officer Vladimir Putin, who was then elevated to the position. Russia's former president Boris Yeltsin resigned in December 1999, and Putin was appointed president. Putin was re-elected president in 2004. In April 2005, he paid a historic visit to Israel, which was the first visit by a Kremlin leader to the country. Despite the fact that Putin was unable to compete for president again in 2008, he was chosen prime minister by Dmitry Medvedev, Putin's successor. Putin was re-elected to the president in March 2012, and he went on to win a fourth term in the following year. He was supposedly nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014, according to reports. Early life and politics. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin was born on October 7, 1952, in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, Russia, to a family of diplomats. The majority of his childhood was spent with his family in a common apartment, where he attended local grammar and high schools, where he acquired a passion for athletics. Putin started his career in the KGB as an intelligence officer in 1975, after earning a law degree from Leningrad State University in the Soviet Union. He was stationed mostly in East Germany throughout his tenure as a lieutenant colonel, and he retired with the rank of lieutenant colonel. While in Russia, Putin worked as an administrator at the University of Leningrad, and when communism fell in 1991, he became an advisor to liberal politician Anatoly Sobchak. As a result, when Sobchak was elected mayor of Leningrad later that year, Putin was appointed as his director of external relations. By 1994, Putin had risen to the position of first deputy mayor under Sobchak. Putin resigned from his position and relocated to Moscow after Sobchak's loss in 1996. In 1998, Putin was named deputy head of management in Boris Yeltsin's presidential administration, a position he has held since. He was in charge of the Kremlin's connections with the regional administrations throughout his tenure in that role. Putin was appointed as the head of the Federal Security Service, an arm of the old KGB, and as the chairman of President Boris Yeltsin's Security Council shortly thereafter. Vladimir Yeltsin fired his prime minister, Sergei Stepashin, and his government in August 1999, and Putin was appointed to take his position as prime minister. Personal life. In 1980, Putin met Lyudmila, who would become his future wife, and who was working as a flight attendant at the time. Their marriage was solemnized in 1983, and they went on to have two daughters, Maria, who was born in 1985, and Yekaterina, who was born in 1986. Russia's first couple announced that they were divorcing in early June 2013, after over 30 years of marriage. They gave no reason for their decision but insisted that it was consensual and amicable between the two of them. The Russian president declared that there are those who simply cannot put up with it. For the last nearly 9 years, Lyudmila Alexandrovna has kept vigil. Lyudmila went on to explain the choice in further detail, saying, "Because we barely ever see one other, our marriage has come to an end." Besides the fact that Vladimir Vladimirovich is completely involved in his profession, our children have grown up and are leading their own lives as adults. Putin, who is an Orthodox Christian, is known to often attend church services on significant anniversaries and holidays. He has a long history of sponsoring the building and renovation of hundreds of churches around the area. In general, he seeks to bring all religions under the control of the government, and he officially compels religious groups to register with local authorities in order to get permission. President of Russia, first and second terms. Boris Yeltsin resigned as Russian president in December 1999, and Putin was named interim president until formal elections were conducted in March 2000. Putin was elected to his first term with 53% of the vote. Putin began reorganizing the government and beginning criminal investigations into the commercial transactions of high-profile Russian people after promising both political and economic changes. In Chechnya, he resumed Russia's military effort. In reaction to the terrorist attacks in the United States in September 2001, Putin declared Russia's support for the U.S. anti-terror fight. When the U.S. war on terror switched to the overthrow of Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein, Putin joined German Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder and French President Jacques Chirac in opposing the proposal. Putin was re-elected president in 2004, and in April of the following year, he paid a historic visit to Israel for meetings with Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, marking the first visit by any Kremlin leader to Israel. Putin was unable to compete for the president in 2008 due to constitutional term restrictions. In the same year, Russia's presidential terms were increased from 4 to 6 years. When his protege Dmitry Medvedev took over as president in March 2008, he quickly chose Putin as Russia's prime minister, ensuring Putin's continued power for the following 4 years. Third term as president. Vladimir Putin was re-elected to a third term as president on March 4, 2012. He was inaugurated on May 7, 2012, following huge protests and suspicions of election fraud, and named Medvedev as prime minister soon after. Putin has proceeded to make contentious changes to Russia's internal and international policies now that he is back in power. Putin passed a bill prohibiting the adoption of Russian children in the United States in December 2012. According to Putin, the law, which went into force on January 1, 2013, was designed to make it simpler for Russians to adopt children from their own country. The adoption restriction, on the other hand, sparked worldwide outrage, apparently putting over 50 Russian children in legal limbo who were in the final stages of adoption with U.S. residents at the time Putin signed the bill. The following year, Putin further damaged ties with the U.S. by granting sanctuary to Edward Snowden, who is sought by the U.S. for leaking sensitive material from the National Security Agency. President Barack Obama canceled a scheduled meeting with Putin in August as a result of Putin's activities. Putin also enraged many individuals at the time with his new anti-gay policies. In Russia, he made it unlawful for homosexual couples to adopt, as well as prohibiting the promotion of non-traditional sexual relationships among children. International outrage erupted in response to the measure. Fourth presidential term. Putin bragged of new weapons that would make NATO defenses totally meaningless in March 2018, towards the conclusion of his third term, including a low-flying nuclear-capable cruise missile with infinite range and another capable of moving at hypersonic speed. His performance featured a visual simulation depicting assaults on the U.S. A 2-hour documentary named Putin was released to multiple social media sites including a pro-Kremlin YouTube channel not long after that. The documentary, which was created to show Putin in a strong, but humane light, included Putin telling the story of how he ordered a hijacked plane shot down to prevent a bomb scare at the 2014 Sochi Olympics, as well as memories of his grandfather's time as a cook for Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin. Russian voters decisively elected Putin to a fourth presidential term on March 18, 2018, the fourth anniversary of the country's invasion of Crimea, with 67% of the population turning out to give him more than 76% of the vote. The fragmented opposition had little chance of defeating the popular leader, with his closest rival receiving roughly 13% of the vote. Little was anticipated to change in terms of Putin's plans to rebuild Russia as a global force, while the start of his last term raised worries about his successor, and if he would try to rewrite the constitution in order to stay in power permanently. Putin and Trump met in Helsinki, Finland, on July 16, 2018, for the first official discussions between the two presidents. The meeting's themes, according to Russia, covered the continuing Syrian conflict and the eradication of suspicions about allegations of Russian meddling in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Putin met with North Korean ruler Kim Jong-un for the first time in April of the following year. The two leaders addressed the problem of North Korean workers in Russia, and Putin expressed support for Kim's disarmament talks with the U.S., stating that in return for relinquishing his nuclear program, Kim would require security assurances. Following Putin's State of the Nation speech in January 2020, which included proposals for constitutional amendments, including transferring the power to select the prime minister and cabinet from the president to the parliament. The question of whether he intended to extend his hold on power resurfaced. The whole government, including Medvedev, resigned immediately, and Mikhail V. Mishustin was appointed as the new prime minister. Is Putin your favorite world leader? Let us know in the comment box below. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Thank you.